what is the difference in cost between Google or search marketing versus social media marketing? So your Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok marketing. So the real difference is seen in the way they actually calculate the advertising cost. So when you do an advertisement on search, you're paying for a cost per click. So a search engine marketing tactic like Google AdWords, you'll be paying on a cost per click basis. So every time someone clicks on the link, you will then pay a certain amount of money depending on how much demand there is for that keyword that you've bid on, right? While with social media, it is on a cost per impression basis. So every time someone sees the content, you are then charged. Facebook calls this CPM, cost per 1,000, M being the Roman numeral for 1,000, M standing for mille, which is 1,000, right? So cost per 1,000. So on Facebook, they're charging you on a per 1,000 piece of impressions. So it's not on a per click, it's on per 1,000 impressions. While with search or Google, it's on a cost per click basis. Now, how does that rack up in terms of expense? Well, there's neither a more expensive or cheaper platform. It really depends on the demand in the sector. But what you find with Google is it can become a real bottom of the pit type bidding scenario where the people with the deepest pockets usually outbid the ones that are above them. So that can make things very expensive very quickly. And I've seen cost per clicks go very high in a short amount of time and completely make it, ROI negative for everyone else in the market, and people would price others out. So if you're in a really competitive industry like financial services, trades and so on, you will find it hard to bid on keywords where there is a lot of competition by big companies. While with social, people aren't bidding against competitors. What they are in some ways, but what they're mainly bidding for is audience reach or audience eyeballs. So depending on how much of their target audience is engaged in other campaigns, really depends on what you are paying for your cost per 1,000 impressions. But what you will find is your cost per 1,000 impressions will be cheaper than your search cost per 1,000 impressions. You will find that cost per 1,000 impressions on social will be at a cheaper variable. Your cost per click may or may not be cheaper. It really depends on your ability to engage with the audience. And that's what makes a difference, is how engaging your content actually is. That will make it cheaper for you. While with search, yes, engagement is important and how engaging your ads are is important, but it comes down really to competition, right? So they're the big differences. What we generally find is on the Facebook network, we're able to get much cheaper cost per clicks and impressions and share of audience than we can on Google with a lot of industries. However, the strategy is going to be completely different because the audience with Google is already searching for that item, while with Facebook, we've got to create multiple touch points to get them to pull to the campaign. So really, we've got to look at Facebook as a database building campaign rather than Google, where we're able to then attract an audience that will hopefully convert. However, this is again a real test of the audience itself. So it comes down to a number of factors with Google. Facebook really comes to the fore when we've built a database, we've matured that database with touch points. Usually we find it takes 20 to 25 touch points to mature them. And what we find then is it becomes an established asset for the business where we can predict outcome. And that's where it starts to overtake search. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions about what I've just said, please reach out, but I hope to give you more value in my next video. See you then.